Okay, Alex, I want you to think about a specific, universally dreaded adult chore. A moment where you are staring at a piece of fabric, confused by a series of tiny, cryptic symbols, and you suddenly realize you are about to make a very expensive mistake.
Oh, wow. That is a very specific and exhausting way to start the podcast. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Laundry.
Laundry. Yes. But specifically, the mysterious, terrifying world of clothing care labels and the dry cleaner.
Oh, that is a special kind of nightmare. On a scale of 1 to 10, my anxiety when I look at the little symbols on a shirt tag is easily an 8. Maybe a 9 if it is a new, expensive sweater, and I'm not sure if I can put it in the machine.
A 9? That is incredibly high. You are an intelligent, capable adult. You manage complex software projects. But a little picture of a triangle with a line through it makes you want to just wear the same 3 shirts forever?
It is not just the triangle, Sophia. It is the entire ecosystem of laundry. In my native language, I know the rules. I know what the symbols mean. I know how to sort the colors. And I know when to take something to a professional. But in English, the vocabulary is full of terms that sound completely contradictory.
I completely understand that. Doing laundry is stressful even for native speakers. There is the fear of shrinking your favorite clothes, the mystery of the delicate cycle, and the guilt of mixing whites with colors.
Exactly. And there is this unspoken pressure to just know how to take care of your clothes. Like, if you ruin a nice shirt, people will think you are completely helpless.
Oh, I have a feeling you have a very specific story about this. Do not hold out on me. Tell me the story.
I was hoping we would skip this part, but I know the rules of this podcast. Okay, fine. It was about 2 years ago. I had just gotten a promotion at work, and I decided to treat myself. I went to a nice department store and bought a beautiful, high-quality merino wool sweater. It was dark blue, very soft, and it made me feel very professional.
I love this. You were celebrating a milestone. You deserved a nice sweater.
I did. I wore it a few times, and it got a little dusty. So, I decided to wash it. I took it off, looked at the tag inside the collar, and saw the words, "Dry clean only."
Ah, the classic warning?
Yes, but here is where my brain circuited. I knew the word dry. I knew the word clean. And in my tired, logical brain, I thought, okay, this is an instruction. It means I should dry it, and I should clean it. I can do both of those things myself.
Oh no. Alex, please tell me you did not do what I think you did.
I did. I put the beautiful merino wool sweater into the washing machine. I set it to the hottest water setting, because I thought hot water cleans the best. Then, I put it in the dryer and set it to the highest heat, because I wanted it to be very dry.
Bursts into laughter. I am losing my mind. I am actually crying. You put a wool sweater in hot water in high heat?
I did, with total, sincere confidence. I am drying it, and I'm cleaning it.
What happened when you opened the dryer?
I opened the door, and I reached in, but my hand did not find a sweater. It found a small, Thick, dark blue circle of fabric. It was the size of a dinner plate.
Wiping away tears. Oh, Alex, that is incredible.
I pulled it out, and I held it up. It was so small, it looked like a sweater for a toddler, or maybe a very large cat. The wool had felted and shrunk to about 20% of its original size. I stood there in my laundry room, holding this tiny blue circle, realizing I had just destroyed a $200 sweater in 20 minutes.
I cannot breathe. A tiny blue circle. You went from celebrating a promotion to holding a woolen frisbee.
I wanted the washing machine to open up and swallow me whole. But I am a problem solver. I thought, okay, this is a fixable problem. I will take it to the dry cleaner. They are professionals. They can fix this.
Oh, the optimism. I love it.
Yes. I folded the tiny sweater, put it in a bag, and walked to the local dry cleaner. I walked up to the counter. The clerk was a very serious older man named Robert. He looked at me, and I said, very professionally, "Hello. I have a garment here that has experienced a severe reduction in size. I need you to perform an expansion service on it."
A severe reduction in size. And an expansion service.
Yes,
Alex, no.
I said it with total, sincere, professional confidence. I need an expansion service. Can you make it big again?
I am losing my mind. What did Robert's face do?
He stopped typing. He slowly opened the bag. He pulled out the tiny, shrunk sweater. He held it up with 2 fingers, looking at it like it was a piece of evidence in a crime scene. He looked back at me and said, very slowly, "Sir, this is wool. It is felted. We cannot expand it. It is permanently small."
Laughing uncontrollably. It is permanently small. That is the most brutally honest thing a dry cleaner has ever said.
I was so confused. I said, "But it is dry now, and it is clean. Why can you not stretch it?" Robert just sighed, handed it back to me, and said, "I am sorry. Sir, we do not offer magic."
I cannot breathe. We do not offer magic. You are asking a dry cleaner to reverse the laws of physics.
I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me whole. I just took my tiny sweater, mumbled, "Thank you anyway," and walked out. I ended up giving it to my nephew. It fits him perfectly now.
Okay? First of all, that is a hilarious story. Second of all, I promise you, Robert probably forgot about it 5 minutes later. Dry cleaners see ruined clothes every single day. You're just a drop in the ocean of laundry disasters.
Logically, I know that. But in the moment, you feel so foolish. You are an adult, but you feel like a child who does not understand the basic rules of fabric care.
I hear you. It is that gap between your actual intelligence and your ability to decode specific, everyday vocabulary when you are under pressure. But let's look at what actually happened. You learned a very expensive, very memorable lesson about wool. That is a huge win. Even if the sweater did not survive.
I suppose so. But it made me realize how much specific vocabulary is tied to laundry and clothing care.
That is so true. and it highlights a really important point for our listeners. When we are put on the spot in a second language, especially in a formal environment, like a dry cleaner, our brains default to literal translations. We panic, and we grab the first definitions of the words we know.
Exactly. So, please, Sophia, give me the toolkit. How do I navigate the dry cleaner without sounding like I'm asking for a magic trick?
Okay, let's demystify this. The most common B1, B2 laundry phrases are actually quite logical once you know the context. Let's start with the one that caused the trauma. Dry clean only.
It means the item should only be cleaned by a professional using chemical solvents, not water. Got it. No DIY hot water baths required.
Exactly. If a tag says dry clean only, you take it to the dry cleaner. Now, what about the opposite? What if you want to wash it yourself, but you are worried?
I usually look for the word machine washable, but sometimes it says delicate.
Yes, delicate means the fabric is fragile. If you see delicate, you should use the delicate cycle on your washing machine, which uses cold water and gentle agitation. You should also avoid the dryer and instead hang dry or lay flat to dry.
Lay flat to dry. That is a very specific instruction. I always just throw everything in the dryer.
Laughs. And that is how sweaters become toddler sized. Another huge one to know is shrink. When fabric gets smaller in the wash, it shrinks. So you can say, I am worried this shirt will shrink in the dryer.
Shrink. I know this word now. Very well. What about when you have a spot on your shirt? Like coffee or wine?
That is a stain. And the product you use to remove it is a stain remover. You can say, I have a coffee stain on my shirt. Do you think this stain remover will work?
Stain remover. That is very clear. What about when you take clothes to the dry cleaner and you want them to make the pants shorter or the waist tighter?
That is called alterations. If you need your clothes adjusted to fit better, you ask for alterations. For example, I need to get these pants altered. The hem is too long.
Alterations. I like that word. It sounds very professional. So, if I put it all together, instead of I need an expansion service, I can say, Hi, I accidentally shrank this sweater in the wash. I know it is probably permanent, but is there anything you can do to stretch it out? Or is it a total loss?
Wow! That is so clear, so realistic, and so much less dramatic. You acknowledged the mistake. You used the right vocabulary. And you asked a reasonable question.
That is a huge relief. But what about the actual interaction at the dry cleaner? I always feel rushed.
The dry counter rush. This is a very real pain point.
Yes, the clerk is busy. The line is long, and I need to explain that I have a small stain. I need it by tomorrow, and I want to know the price. I try to say all of this at once, and I end up saying, hello, small stain, tomorrow, price? Like a robot.
Laughs. Small stain. Tomorrow. Price. I can picture it. The key is to break it down into polite, manageable requests.
So, how do I do that?
You start with the main issue. Hi, I have a small coffee stain on this shirt. Then, you ask about the timeline. Is it possible to have this ready by tomorrow afternoon? And finally, you ask about the cost. Could you let me know what the charge will be?
Is it possible to have this ready by tomorrow afternoon? That is so much better. It is a polite question, not a demand.
Exactly. And if they say no, you can ask, what is the earliest you can have it done? It shows you are flexible but still need a clear answer.
That makes me feel so much better. But Sophia, I have to be honest. All of this laundry anxiety, it is deeply tied to a feeling of inadequacy.
I hear you. Say more about that.
Well, when you move to a new country, you are expected to be a fully functioning adult. You are supposed to know how to manage your home, take care of your belongings, and navigate these everyday systems. But when you ruin a nice sweater because you misunderstood a tag, you feel like you're failing at basic adulthood.
That is such a profound and valid feeling. We spend our whole lives building competence. We want to be good at our jobs, good at managing our lives, good at communicating. So when we try to do a simple thing like wash a sweater in a second language, and we suddenly do not know the basic vocabulary, it feels like a blow to our ego.
Exactly. You feel like you are regressing. You think, I am a senior software developer. I build complex systems. Why can I not read a clothing tag?
Because clothing tags are written in a weird, abbreviated shorthand that confuses native speakers too. Have you ever seen a tag that just has a picture of a square with a circle inside it? And a dot in the middle?
Yes, I have no idea what that means. I think it means, do not put in a square circle.
Laughs. It means tumble dry low. But it looks like an ancient hieroglyph. You're not failing at adulthood. Alex, you're just decoding a poorly designed system. And honestly, the fact that you care enough to try and do it right shows what a responsible person you are.
That is a really nice way to look at it. I usually just focus on the embarrassment of the moment. Like the time I tried to ask the dry cleaner if they could bleach a shirt I accidentally ruined.
Bursts into laughter? Oh, Alex. No. Bleach?
I did. I used regular bleach on a colored shirt, and it turned orange. I took it to the dry cleaner and said, "Hello, I made a mistake. Can you bleach this back to blue?"
I am wheezing. I am actually crying. Bleach. That is top tier comedy.
The clerk just looked at me and said, "Sir, bleach removes color. We cannot put color back in." I felt so stupid. I just said, "Ah, yes, the color is gone. I will buy a new shirt."
Okay. First of all, that is hilarious. Second of all, the clerk was absolutely right. You cannot bleach something. But you know what? Alex, you survived. You learned that bleach is for whites only. And you moved on. That is a victory.
I suppose so. I just need to remember that my worth is not determined by my ability to perform laundry magic.
Exactly. Your worth is determined by the fact that you keep trying. You keep putting yourself out there, even when it is uncomfortable. And that is incredibly brave. Now, since we are on the topic of laundry and dry cleaning, I want to try something with you. A little role play.
Oh no. I knew this was coming. My imaginary shrunken sweater is already making me nervous.
It will be fun, I promise. And it is great practice. I am going to be Robert, the serious but helpful dry cleaner clerk. You're going to bring in a shirt with a small stain. Ask about the turnaround time, and inquire about the price. You are going to stay calm, and no requests for expansion services. Ready?
Okay. I'm ready. No magic tricks. Just a normal customer.
Perfect. Shifts posture. Adopts a brisk, professional, slightly busy voice. Next. Please. What can I do for you today?
Clears throat. Speaks calmly and politely. Hi. I have a small coffee stain on this shirt. I was wondering if it is possible to get this out, and if I could have it ready by tomorrow afternoon.
Let me take a look. Yes, that should come out easily. We can definitely have it ready for you by tomorrow afternoon.
That is great. Could you let me know what the charge will be for that?
Breaks character. Smiling widely. Oh. Alex, that was absolutely flawless.
Really? It felt a little bit formal, but I was trying to be clear.
It was perfect. You stated the problem clearly, small coffee stain. You asked a polite, specific question about the timeline. Is it possible to have it ready by tomorrow afternoon? And you inquired about the cost professionally, what the charge will be. You sounded like a confident, capable adult.
It feels much safer to have a script like that. When I am nervous, I either explain, I spilled the coffee. It was an accident. I am very sorry, or I just point at the stain and grunt.
And both of those extremes are problematic. Over explaining makes you seem insecure. And grunting is just, well, it is not very polite. The clear, direct approach keeps you perfectly in the middle.
I'm definitely writing that down. But Sophia, what about the laundromat? Not everyone has a washer and dryer at home.
Ah, the laundromat. A whole different set of challenges.
Yes, the laundromat is a public space. You have to share machines. You have to watch your clothes. And you have to interact with strangers. I once went to a laundromat, and I did not know how to ask for change for a dollar bill.
Oh, the classic change dilemma.
Yes. I walked up to the counter, and I said, "Excuse me, I need to make my dollar into smaller dollars for the machine." The woman behind the counter just stared at me and said, "You mean quarters?"
Laughs. Smaller dollars. That is actually a very logical way to describe coins. But yes, we call them quarters.
I know that now, but in the moment, I just wanted to be understood. And then, there is the fear of the color bleed.
The dreaded color bleed? When a red sock turns all your white shirts pink?
Exactly. I am terrified of this. I always separate my clothes into whites and colors, but sometimes I am not sure. Is a light gray shirt a white or a color?
That is a great question. The general rule is, if you're not sure, treat it as a color. It is always better to be safe than to end up with pink underwear.
Better to be safe than to end up with pink underwear. I am going to write that on my washing machine.
Laughs, please do. And another great laundromat phrase is, to do a load of laundry.
To do a load. I always say, to wash a machine of clothes. Which sounds very clunky.
Wash a machine of clothes is very creative. But do a load of laundry is the natural phrase. I need to go to the laundromat to do a load of whites.
Do a load of whites. That sounds very natural. What about when you find a tissue in the pocket, and it shreds all over the clothes?
Ah! The tissue apocalypse. That is a universal tragedy. The best thing to do is to shake the clothes outside. Use a lint roller, and maybe run them through the dryer on a no heat, air fluff cycle to blow the lint away.
Air fluff cycle. I did not know that existed. That is amazing.
It is a lifesaver. Now, since we are on the topic of laundry and the pressure of doing it right, I want to do a quick rapid fire scenario game. Laundry edition. I will give you a situation, and you give me your immediate, natural response. No overthinking.
Okay. My sweater is safely shrunken, and I have left my requests for magic at home. Hit me.
Scenario 1. You are at the laundromat, and the machine next to you is finished, but the person is not there to take their clothes out. You need to use that machine.
I would wait a few minutes, and then if they do not show up, I would carefully move their clothes into a clean plastic basket and leave a note saying, "Hi, I needed to use this machine. Your clothes are safe in this basket. Thank you."
Perfect. Polite. Practical. And respects their belongings while solving your problem. Scenario 2. You are buying laundry detergent, and you see a bottle that says, he? You do not know what that means.
I would ask an employee, "Excuse me, what does HE stand for on this detergent?"
Excellent. And the answer is high efficiency, which is for modern washing machines that use less water. Scenario 3. You take your clothes to the dry cleaner, and you want them to iron your shirts so they look crisp and professional.
I would say, "Hi, I would like to get these shirts dry cleaned and pressed. Please."
Yes, flawless. Pressed is the exact right term for professional ironing at a dry cleaner. Scenario 4. You are doing laundry at home, and you realize you are completely out of detergent.
I would say to myself, "Well, I guess I'm doing a load of water today." And then I would go to the store to buy more.
Gasps, Alex. That is a perfect, emotionally intelligent, and humorous response. You acknowledged the absurdity of the situation and immediately identified the solution. That is C1 level life management right there.
Really? I just made a joke about washing clothes in plain water.
And it was a great joke. That is how language acquisition works. You hear it, you understand it, and then you make it your own, adding your own humor to it. You should be very proud of that.
I am definitely writing a load of water on my imaginary laundry list.
Please do. And you know, Alex, this entire conversation really highlights something important about the language learning journey. We focus so much on the big milestones. But the real magic happens in these tiny, awkward, everyday moments.
The tiny moments.
Yes. The moment you ask for quarters. The moment you realize dry clean only is a warning, not a suggestion. The moment you confidently say, I would like to get these shirts pressed. Those are the moments where you are actually living the language. You're not just studying it, you're using it to navigate your life and take care of your home.
That is a really beautiful way to look at it. I usually just think of those moments as embarrassing failures, but they are actually proof that I am participating in the daily rhythm of life here.
Exactly. Every awkward question is a victory. Every misunderstood label is a lesson learned. You are building your confidence, one load of laundry at a time.
One load of laundry at a time. I like that. I'm going to use that.
You should. Now, to wrap up our laundry survival guide, I have to ask, do you still have that tiny blue sweater?
Laughs. You know what? Sophia? Yes, I do. It lives in the back of my closet. It is my official humility sweater. Whenever I feel too confident about my English skills, I look at it, and it reminds me that I once asked a dry cleaner for an expansion service.
Lavs. That is the best possible use for a shrunken sweater. It is a reminder to stay humble and to always read the tag.
Exactly. And if I ever buy another wool sweater, I know exactly what to do. I will take it straight to Robert, and I will say, please dry clean this. And no magic required.
That is the smartest thing you could possibly say. Thank you, Alex. This conversation was exactly what I needed. I feel so much more confident about the idea of doing laundry and not feeling like an alien in the laundromat.
I am so glad to hear that, Sophia. And to all our listeners out there, if you feel anxious about doing laundry or going to the dry cleaner in English, remember this: it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to separate your colors. And you never, ever need to ask someone to bleach your clothes.
And if a tag says dry clean only, just remember, they are warning you, not giving you a DIY project.
Exactly. We will see you all next time. Keep your cycles delicate, your stains treated, and bye, Sophia.
Bye? Alex,